I want to say welcome back. I am called to do this at this time. Um, I'm called to reveal information regarding the ancient Egyptian history facts by confirming what is true, and so that you guys understand some things that's going on. I will not be able to tell of a lot of things, but the things I will be able to tell are going to be really the truth, okay? Where do I start? There is a lot of information to know about this. There's a lot of things that you all should try to understand about it, because you have to start seeing that it's not a bad thing. Okay, a lot of people have a mindset where they feel like it's bad, but it's not. It's only based off of how it has been changed, twisted, and glamorized to make you feel like it is. But it's not. So I think where I want to start at is to let you all know that for some of you, you may know this, and for some of you, you may not know this, but the actual name for ancient Egypt is Kemet. Okay? Kemet. Kemet means the black land. The black land, it works in two ways. The soil deposits from the Nile River, the rocks and the sands turn black. Okay? And there were different parts where it looked like black sand. Literally, it looked like black sand or black dirt. And also because this place is in Africa, the land of black people, brown people. But back then in ancient Egypt, the people were not called black people per se, they were called brown people. So the people were called brown, and the people looked brown, just like the sand was brown and turned darker because of the soil. So let's just start there, all right? But we don't want to make this about just black people. Let me tell you guys a big secret about me, goddess Isis. And by the way, Isis is a Greek name, but the actual name is Aset. I like Isis, that name, that the Greeks chose, because it's pretty. And you also have to understand what the name means. The name is Isis, as in sister. I, sister. So that means I am the sister, right, to the Christ, the K-R-S-T, Christ. The word Christ, C-H-R-I-S-T, comes from K-R-S-T, which is the words that you find on the Egyptian tomb of Asar, aka Osiris. You also find it on kings such as Heru or Horus. Basically, that word Christ means the anointed one, the messenger of heaven. So it's not a bad thing. And honestly, a person who is spiritually anointed, even in this lifetime, can be a Messiah, can be a Christ, because that's an adjective to describe a person who has been anointed and has way stronger gifts than your average person. Jesus Christ is one of those people. And if Muslims believe Muhammad was one of those people as well, that's okay. Because there is a such thing as other people being able to have spiritual gifts. You see what I mean? There's a such thing as other people being able to have higher spiritual gifts than most people, because it all depends on who God chose to anoint in that way. So I don't like when people do bad things to hurt people, because that's not like the message from God. And the biggest misconception that people have about ancient Egypt is that ancient Egypt is all about magic, mysticism, and just royalty. All people see is the money, like the riches, the kings, the queens, the royalty. Um, they see the money, they see the power, and they see the magic, right? But it didn't begin with these things. Not only did it not begin with these things, but it also, that's not all it's about. And let me help you understand why they called it quote unquote magic, why that word was used and where it comes from, so that you'll know. The act of brewing, cooking, putting earthly elements such as herbs, plants, oils, seeds, different things into like a mixture, but you need a container to like hold it, and sometimes to cook it or to heat it up and turn it into a different type of element. Alchemy. Alchemy is transforming something into another thing. So ancient Egyptians performed alchemy that is now today called cooking. Kitchen, in the kitchen. Ancient Egyptians created magic, which is now today called medicine. Ancient Egyptian doctors created scripts in a book that is now called prescriptions, that pharmacists use, doctors use, to provide you with that quote unquote magic or medicine that you have now. Ancient Egyptian is the hub, the central location, the original location of a lot of things that are helping people out in the world today. So no doctor, no pharmacist, no medical professional, no healer, no priest, no pastor, no deacon can ever turn their back on ancient Egypt in any kind of way when their professions started there. Everything began there. That is the beginning of everything. That is the Mecca of everything. So without this type of advanced mind, the advanced consciousness of ancient Egyptians, and without the advanced knowledge, and without the inventions, without the inspirations from ancient Egypt, people wouldn't be able to heal today. Or it would have taken up until today to learn how to do a lot of things on your own. Science wouldn't be science without ancient Egypt. And there's a lot of scholars, a lot of scientists, a lot of people out in the world that actually know these things and they love these things. Not everyone is against our history. Not everyone is against this place, this beautiful place, because they know the truth. They know what it is. And it's out there. There's documentaries out there. You can watch stuff all the time. You can pull things up and you can find out the information if you really wanted to know. So it's not hidden like it used to be. A lot of this is out for everyone to know. It's not like it's a secret. The only secret about ancient Egypt that people are upset about, people finding out about, is me. I'm just going to be honest, because that's what it is. But what I want you to know is that we are people of God. I'm a person of God. I am a woman of God. I'm a queen of God. I do not believe in doing the things that people are doing. So you guys have to be careful when you are hearing things about me. Like, I'm talking about me personally, because me personally on this YouTube channel, the guidance that you're receiving is going to be straight from the source. There is no hidden cryptic messages here. So what you guys have to see is that because people are envious of the truth, they will try to do things like that. Okay? They will try to twist things. So what I want you to do is use your discernment, and I'm sure you guys can sense the genuine passion. I'm sure you guys can sense that this is the truth. I'm sure that you can sense that there's nothing bad about it. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have already figured that out. How beautiful my spirit is. So I really don't have to explain that part. But what I do want you to know is that you don't have to be afraid to believe in this and be happy about it if you really understand what it's about. Back in ancient Egypt, the gods and goddesses and most of the queens and most of the pharaohs, especially in those ancient days, spent their time in prayer and worship, going to work, eating together, and paying attention to the way the world moved, how the world worked. So the sun, the stars, the moon, the earth itself, vegetation, the lands, the waters, paid attention to how the world works in order to create civilization of man, in order to create on top of the creation, in order to learn how to build homes, how to provide shelter, how to heal, how to cure the sick. And if any woman in this world decides to deem herself as any kind of goddess, then that woman should have supernatural abilities to heal people, such as myself. There are women who are inspired by that, so they would call themselves goddesses. This is how you know the people that are really inspired by me. People that are inspired by me are going to be spiritual. You're going to find them starting a lot of YouTube channels. You are going to find them creating amazing, like, poetry, writing books, creating movies that are entertaining and good and well thought out, and not trying to change the image, but they're going to be inspired in a good way about it. Award shows, Hollywood, music industry. These are the ways that I'm inspiring to people. These are the things you're going to see. People changing their lives in a positive way. Maybe young guys deciding to go to college. They've gotten inspired in a positive way to do something great with their life. Young girls deciding to make something of themselves, inspiring in that kind of way. People, dreaming, praying, or wishing to have certain things in their life, or wanting to walk with more integrity or more self-respect, or they want to claim some type of they want to claim themselves or deem themselves as someone who is important in society. That's what I'm inspiring. That's the kind of things that I do. I inspire people in a positive way. Where people, may come out with some YouTube channels, some Instagram pages, and some TikToks, and they're calling themselves queen now. There's a lot more self-respect and self-love. They may call themselves goddess now because they feel like they have a word, and, they feel like they can help people. You may have mental health counselors and therapists who no longer want to deem people as crazy. Now they are actually, seeing they've got to incorporate that spiritual side into things, and maybe you wouldn't underestimate someone who's truly gifted again. That's the way that this is happening. You may have doctors, you may have, let's call out some practical careers. You may have restaurants opening up inspired by ancient Egypt, or just inspired by spiritual things, inspired by God. You may have a restaurant open up and it's ran by a group of some type of religious group of people, and the menu is just all clean foods, or maybe it's named something sacred, David's Cafe, something from the Bible, or um, something, and I know that there's a lot of people who watch. It's not just black people who watch, it's not just white people who watch, it's not just Christians who watch. It's like people from other ethnicities, Chinese people, it could be anybody. It could be anybody from any part of the world, and people believe in different things. People believe in what they were raised to believe. But I'm not a fighter against people's beliefs. I'm not a person who's just gonna be like upset with you because you don't choose to believe. Why would I be upset when I know the consequences of not doing so? That's not gonna make me feel like that. So I want you guys to don't let people give you a narrative about something that they don't know about unless you're hearing it from the source. If you're not getting the information straight from the source, you're not going to be right when you decide to believe what people want you to believe, because they're not right. So they're trying to mask the truth right now, and they want you guys to think that there's something bad or negative. But there's another thing that I want to mention to you guys before I go. Ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses are not going to show up in the world as people who are already rich when they are born into this lifetime. Sometimes you have to think about the stories that you heard. No matter what you believe, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe in, there are stories about like some type of struggle, some type of warfare, or some type of hardships before the reward. For all of the anointed people, all of the gifted souls, all of the ones who work for the kingdom of heaven, they all have gone through things. They all, like, think about Christ, Jesus Christ, right? The way he's described to you all, is he described as rich? No. He's described to you as a poor carpenter. Remember that. Don't be so quick to praise this and be so, then you become hypocritical because you don't understand your own history. Jesus Christ he didn't come into the world with riches. Although rich people and people who had a lot, like the Magi, right? The three magicians who gifted baby Jesus with gold and frankincense and myrrh and exclusive herbs and things like that, exclusive resins and herbs that was found in a more prominent part of the Middle East. These things were given to them by people who already had businesses, and they're magicians, so that means they can manifest certain things. So they had access to things, and they gave it, the mother of Jesus. If you want to use the word Mary to feel okay about it, okay, we'll say Mary. Now, she wasn't a rich woman, remember the stories you guys read? She wasn't rich. She didn't come in the game like that. Now, did they end up having these things? Absolutely. But after having to come into the full body of who God wanted you to be. It took Jesus 30 years for people to know that he is a Christ child. It took 30 years for him to start a ministry so that people can know that what the magicians had prophesied and what the priests had prophesied about his life when he was a baby. It took 30 years for people to see if it was true or not. And they didn't know it until he started performing miracles and began his ministry, his fellowship. Same exact thing happened to me. People knew who I was when I was a young baby and what I was connected to, the royalty. And it took me until 30 years old for me to have my awakening at the time when God wanted me to, so that I can open my eyes and step into my power. There is no difference in the story. Life is not about what people believe in, and it is not about going against people because of what they believe. It's about actually seeing that the miracles that are being performed are real. And you all pretend like you don't, but we all know you do. You do see it. All right. So ancient Egypt, it was not a bad place. That was the actual start of spirituality. That was the beginning of spirituality. The gods and goddesses spent their time trying to teach people about God Almighty. Spent their time teaching people that God is found in the sky. How would you know that God is found in the sky if it weren't for ancient Egyptians? How would you know that how God created the universe if it weren't for ancient Egyptians, if it wasn't on the walls? How would you know? How would you know the good gospel? But this is not for, I don't dislike people because they don't understand the story. I'm not upset because the world wasn't designed for everybody to know the story. So how can I be upset if you don't know it? I'm just here to love everyone with, and I'm just here to do positive things. So for the record, the way that I'm helping people is seen, heard, and felt, and it's all positive things. People are becoming greater. A lot of people are getting their lives together. A lot of people are choosing to do the right things, not the wrong things. A lot of people are, starting to have better self-confidence, self-esteem, starting to feel more supported, like they can get through their day. I've helped people create a lot of careers. There's a lot of people who now make money from YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and all kinds of stuff. I have inspired a lot of people. There's a lot of people who make a lot of money because of me. And everybody wants to act like they don't want to tell you this because it's like having a plug and you don't want other people to know who your plug is, the one who put you on to things. But I'm here to let you know that that is me, and it is very, very positive. Okay? All right. Thank you guys so much. I hope you understand now that this is not a place where, it's a bad place. It's not like that. Now, what happened in Egypt is a different story. But what happened in ancient Egypt was all beautiful. Thank you. God bless.